Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, SeaWorld is fighting a ban on killer whale breeding, and Disney releases a finalized list of celebrities for this year's Candlelight Processional. Also, two college students make a beloved campus employee's dreams of a trip to Walt Disney World come true. And a little later on, our own Steve Porter is going to respond to some critics of his recent article about the updates to Pirates of the Caribbean. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 857 for the week of October 20th, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Kathy Whirling.
Hi, everybody.
Jenny Lynn Knopp.
Hello.
Julie Martin.
Hi.
Corey Martin.
I'm still happy to be here.
Back in the production nook, our associate producer, Rhino Clavin, along with our producer, Craig Williams.
Hi.
And our intern and very special, all-around great guy, Steve Jr. Porter.
Hello, everyone.
So, welcome to the show again. For those of you watching live, we apologize for the glitch. We had something go on with YouTube and live stream, and, you know, it is what it is. This is a live show, and sometimes things are going to go wrong. And the color has finally come back into Craig's face.
Yeah, it was
because Craig was pretty stressed out, but he handled it like the true pro that he is.
Thank you.
So just a couple things in housekeeping before we get started. First of all, John and Kevin are not here again this week because they are in Europe. They are in Paris, actually, right now on a river cruise up the Seine with about 30 other Dizzers. And they're going to follow that up with a few nights at Disneyland Paris before returning home toward the end of the month. So it will be early November when I believe John and Kevin will be back with us. So they're not gone. They're just away. And want to remind everyone to go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WDWinfo. You're going to find all the great videos that Craig and Rhino produce for us every week, and you get notices and our playlists and all the special stuff that we put up. So youtube.com/WDWinfo. And while we're plugging the other things that we do, the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, live every Sunday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, Mixlr.com. And the shows go up on iTunes on Monday and on Tuesday. This week, Mary Jo takes a day 6 drive to the Long Beach area, and Tony talks about ways to buy breakfast for your family at the Disneyland Resort for under $40. So that's all, should be all up on iTunes now. So go check it out. You can also go to DizUnplugged.com to find all of our shows and all the show notes and anything else related to the show. You can also send us feedback. DizUnplugged.com/contact. Leave us a voicemail, send us an email, and give us your thoughts, suggestions, questions, all that good stuff. I seem to be answering them in my solo show. So if you want me to answer something.
I have a bit of housekeeping that has to do with your solo show, because there's a lot of emails that come in, and where can people find that solo show? Because
I'm getting there.
Not that specific one, just in general. I got emails that were like, we don't know where it goes.
If you are subscribed to our iTunes feed or subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will get notices, or you'll see them, because they go up. The same iTunes feed that this show is on is where my solo show goes, and we put them up on YouTube. So I was going to get to that in a second.
Sorry.
But of course, you know, Miss Easy Bake Oven back there has to jump the gun. I know I said last week I was putting a solo show up. It is recorded. I just got caught up with some other things this week and didn't get it finished editing it. It is done. It will be going up tomorrow. Okay? So you will have my solo show tomorrow. And really, you know, I appreciate that you're all excited about it, but lower your expectations on this one. So, every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, DizUnplugged.com, The Trip with Jenny Lynn Knopp and Teresa Eccles. And this week, I believe sombreros are in the offing.
Yes. Tex-Mex is the topic for this week. We're doing a dining review on Chuy's on International Drive.
Awesome. So Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, disunplugged.com.
Which means we have to find the spatula people.
The spatula.
Our spatula people. The happy spatula and
And
the
you have
sad
to put little
spatula.
sombreros on the
Oh, yeah.
people.
Well, I have to find them first. They got lost when we redid the studio.
Okay. And now, spatula people is a thing. And every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, disunplugged.com. Craig Williams, Rhino Clavin, Jenny Lynn Knopp. The Universal Edition of the Diz Unplugged. Craig, what are we talking about this week?
I'm sorry, I'm half paying attention right now because I'm still trying to fix a couple things that are going wrong. We're talking about Universal Orlando.
Wow.
It's going to be good.
In other words, he does not have a show.
No, we do. I'm sorry.
Are we doing a review of the horror makeup show this week, or is that not a thing? Maybe?
Yeah, we're doing that. That's it.
There we go.
Okay. Still shaky.
It's okay. Craig, breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth.
He needs a paper bag.
He does. So I've already mentioned the solo show. And, of course, Connecting with Walt, the special series on the history of Disney that has been going up every Friday for the month of October. We'll have another episode going up this Friday. I just don't know what it is.
It is episode 4, The Master Plan. We take a look at Walt Disney's vision for his Florida project, which included many of the resort amenities we're familiar with today. We'll also examine Walt's concept for a city of the future.
Can I just say that traffic-wise, that show has jumped to number 2 of all our shows.
Wow.
Surpassed
That
only
does not surprise me.
surpassed only by this one. So very, very popular. If you haven't checked it out, it is available on iTunes, on our feed, the Diz Unplugged feed, and it is also going up on YouTube. The audio is going up on YouTube, so you can check it out there, youtube.com/WDWinfo. Does anyone else have anything for Rapid Fire?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Anything for housekeeping? Housekeeping.
This wouldn't be about the time
Housekeeping.
we do rapid fire, though. But it's okay.
What?
This would be about the time that we would.
Yeah, we
rapid
should be
fire.
at rapid fire, but Craig couldn't make things work. And the look on his face. I'm kidding. I am kidding. I'm really not, but it's okay. All right, our first news story. SeaWorld San Diego is fighting the ban on killer whale breeding. SeaWorld San Diego went before the California Coastal Commission recently to get approval for its $100 million Blue World project, which would double the volume of their existing killer whale facility. During the course of the hearing, the commission added an amendment that bans killer whale breeding at SeaWorld San Diego and another that limits whale transportation as a condition of final approval. In a statement released October 15th, SeaWorld Entertainment announced that the company intends to pursue legal action against the California Coastal Commission for its overreaching condition that would ban killer whale breeding at SeaWorld. SeaWorld President and Chief Executive Joel Manby added, "It simply defies common sense that a straightforward land use permit approval would turn into a ban on animal husbandry practices, an area in which the commissioners have no education, training, or expertise." Jared Goodman, Director of Animal Law for PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, disagrees, saying that although the Coastal Act focuses on protecting open spaces and wildlife in their native state, it contains no limiting language that excludes captive wildlife. A spokesperson for the California Coastal Commission had no comment on SeaWorld's complaint. The Blue World project was expected to be open to the public in 2018. So SeaWorld continues to get the backlash from Blackfish, which is exactly what this is. Now, I know that there has been particular focus on San Diego, SeaWorld in San Diego, because it's, forgive me, it's California. It's where all the tree-hugging hippies live. And I know you disagree with me on this.
I'm all for this. I'm glad
I am
to hear
too.
it. I am so glad to hear
I'm glad
it.
they can't produce anymore.
I don't
and,
think
well,
that it's right that they're breeding them.
It's
Which would be the end of
SeaWorld.
SeaWorld's logo. I mean,
yeah,
they would have to
they're-
change it to a stingray or something,
Something, yeah.
well,
which would probably not.
neither
look as
here nor
cool.
there. The right or wrong of it, neither here nor there right now. the question really is whether the Coastal Commission has the jurisdiction. But these are the battles SeaWorld has to fight now. And, I said it before, while I do not agree, I think there's an argument to be made about killer whales in captivity. The tactics used by Blackfish were propaganda, and a lot of it is discredited. And if you can't tell the truth and make a compelling case, there's something wrong with your argument. And
That's not what the issue is for me. The issue is for me, stop breeding the whales.
Me too. It's sad. I think they look sad in their tank. I've never seen one that looked happy, and I don't know. It depresses me.
You can't let them go because they're like institutionalized. That's
Exactly. So
Shawshank
stop
Redemption.
breeding them
Right.
when they can't be
So-
released. If you are shut down, because they have to be euthanized, I guess. I don't know. If something happened to SeaWorld and they were no more, what would happen to those?
they would go to
whales?
other facilities. They
You
would go
know?
to other
Like an
other
aquarium or
marine
something?
parks, aquariums, things like that. That's usually what happens when one of these places shuts down. Again, you know what? I think there's an argument to be made for what you're saying. I don't disagree that there may be something to be said for stopping the breeding and for stopping the captivity. What I have a problem with is when something like Blackfish comes out and it's a hit job and it misrepresents facts and it makes things look a certain way when they are not necessarily that way. They make SeaWorld look like this craven.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there was also misrepresentation on both sides. SeaWorld was not entirely...
Not the kind of propaganda level that Blackfish has animal activists posing as scientists in that movie. And-
SeaWorld's also saying that they never separated the babies from their moms, and they clearly have. That's how that's all documented as well. There were things that SeaWorld was coming out in its public release that were entirely not true in order to try to save face, but those were lies as well. So there's been misrepresentation on both sides. Both sides have an agenda. For me, the issue clearly becomes whether this is right or wrong, not whether the movie was a hit job or not.
Yeah.
Is it right or is it wrong? Should they be doing this or should they not be doing this?
But there are two sides to that story. It's not a black and white, right or wrong. Maybe for you it is, but there are other people who disagree that there is value. There is value for
believe that there's
conservation
value.
and education and
I'm
having
not
these
saying that
animals
SeaWorld-
available for people.
I'm not saying SeaWorld is evil as a whole. I'm saying there's a problem with the whales. Stop breeding them.
But Pete saying that the movie does portray SeaWorld as a villain, whereas it doesn't give credit to the conservation stuff that it does do, or that they help clean up a lot of spills and stuff. And I understand both sides of the argument. It's just both sides are fighting with lies. Is the only thing.
I'm not pro Blackfish. I agree that that's an emotionally manipulative film, but I do disagree with you. They do only address the issue of the whales. They don't talk about the other parts of SeaWorld, but I have watched that movie 3 times. And if you're watching it unemotionally, you can begin to separate. They are only addressing the whale issue. They're not saying they're bad with the stingrays or that the whatever else is there is a terrible
polar bear
problem.
died. Didn't the polar bear die that they had in captivity?
I don't know, but that's what my point is. They don't address any of the other
Well,
stuff.
if we're gonna go the route of captivity being bad for animals, then we have to close down all zoos too.
Oh, I
No,
don't like zoos.
I
So-
don't think that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think anybody's saying captivity is bad for all animals. They're only saying for the situation of the whales. This is the situation for the whales.
But can an argument be made about the lions at Animal Kingdom? Can it be said about elephants?
Quite
Can it be said
possibly.
about...
Quite
So,
possibly.
where's the Blackfish movie on Animal Kingdom? Where's the Blackfish movie on...
Maybe it's coming in a few years. This might be just the starting point. I don't know.
I just think that I think that while, like I said, there may be an argument to be made, the way that it's being done, the manipulation being done, especially by the people behind Blackfish, is unfair. Now, SeaWorld's paying the price for that. They're paying the price for that at the gate. They're paying a price for it financially. As I said a few months ago, I firmly believe at some point they're going to be forced, the way things are going, they're going to be forced to shut down the killer whale exhibits.
Yeah.
And they're going to need to start at some point putting their efforts into what replaces that. And if they don't start doing that at some point soon, I think they're going to be caught in a situation where they have to get rid of their biggest draw. and they're not going to have anything meaningful enough to replace it because they did not invest in the technology, the ideas, whatever. And that will end up being the end of SeaWorld, and I think that would be a crime because I think there is an awful lot of good that comes out of SeaWorld.
And I will agree with that statement.
And
do
I
too.
don't, yeah, but I don't, from that side of things, I don't hear that. I hear everybody just going the Blackfish route. And I think that people need to look at SeaWorld as a whole. And so much of the good work that they do that they never get credit for, that never makes it onto the news, and certainly never has documentaries made about it. And so let's we're going to consider SeaWorld. Let's consider all of it. I mean, there are arguments to be made here about the killer whales, but there's a larger picture as well. And that should not be glossed over with this argument. And I think that just everybody's focused on the killer whale issue, and the larger picture and some of the other good stories get overlooked. And I think it just needs to be more balanced. And that was one of my big problems with Blackfish. But so they are going to go after the California Coastal Commission and see if they have, in fact, purview to demand that the husbandry program be stopped. And if they do, if they lose,
New logo.
then that's it. I think that will be the first domino. That will be the first domino. But I can bet you any amount of money SeaWorld is going to legally outspend.
There's a truck outside now or something.
Should I just hand you my keys now?
Well, I don't know why they're coming at 1:40. They're usually here at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know. All right, let's move on. There's just so many distractions in this show today.
Jeez Louise.
So Disney Channel commissions a script for Descendants 2. Descendants 2 is officially in the works, as the Disney Channel has commissioned a script for the sequel from the writers of the original. The made-for-TV movie aired this summer and was a coming-of-age adventure about the teenage children of the most famous Disney villains and heroes. All of the actors are expected to return for the sequel. The original movie, directed by High School Musical's Kenny Ortega, proved to be a hit, raking in 12.2 million U.S. viewers. The movie also received 3.3 million views on the Watch Disney Channel app. It is currently up to 32 million total viewers. Gary Marsh, President and Chief Creative Officer of Disney Channels Worldwide, said, by almost every measure, domestically and globally, Descendants has already become one of the biggest entertainment properties of the year. So, not a surprise that Descendants is getting a sequel.
Yeah.
No.
See, when this was first announced, I thought it was going to be a series.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I was really excited about that, but it was a cute movie though.
Once Upon a Time for
little kids.
For
Right.
kids, yeah.
Yeah.
That's and if you want to read a review on it, go on WDW Info and look for my review of it, because I am. It was a guilty pleasure of mine. I ran to that soundtrack for an embarrassing amount of time.
I'm rotten to the core.
Yep.
Sorry.
She knows me. She gets it.
All right, now for all the bad stories and tragic stories that we hear regarding the news, this one just jumped out at me.
Yeah.
This was on People Magazine's website, people.com. When students at Elon University learned about a beloved campus coffee shop's employees' lifelong dream, they fundraised for weeks to make it happen. On Monday, junior Taylor Zischoltz and freshman Lucy Smith-Williams surprised Catherine Thompson with the $8,000 that they raised to send her and her family to Disney World. Thompson works the night shift at an on-campus coffee shop, and on September 11th, the 10-year veteran employee of the university was chatting with the two students when she found out that one of them was from Florida. Her eyes filled with tears as she spilled out her biggest dream in life is to take her son, daughter-in-law, and two grandsons to Disney World. It didn't take much longer for these two college students to grasp her hard work and dedication, and they decided to do something. So they put together a crowdfunding page on GoFundMe.com and sent the link around to students and alumni with the provision that they keep it secret. Within 3 days, they were halfway to their goal. They continued fundraising for 3 more weeks, all the while encouraging their friends to keep everything quiet. As of last Friday, the page had raised over $8,000, all of which will go towards this woman's family trip. And when the big reveal came, the two students donned Mickey Mouse T-shirts and created a big sign that read, "We wanted to thank you for all you do. You and your family are going to Disney World," and included heartfelt comments from students that had been posted along on the GoFundMe page. And of course, this woman was in tears, and she said that she was most excited to take her grandson, who has autism, to meet his favorite character, Mickey Mouse. She said, "I'm just excited to be going to see my grandson's eyes light up when he sees Mickey. I hope he won't be scared of him." So I just thought that was a great story, that, just this random act of kindness that we just hear so little about. I think more of it probably goes on in the world than we know about, because a lot of times if it bleeds, it leads. And so you don't hear about this stuff. But it was just nice as I was searching, because it was kind of a slow news week. And I was doing some searching for a good third news story. Not that Descendants 2 was a good second news story. But I saw this. I'm like, you know what? That's really cool. That's really cool. So hats off to these two college students for doing this. And I think that's really, really awesome. And I think everybody should try and find an opportunity to do a random act of kindness. And send people to Disney World. Have them book with dreams, though. That's all I'm saying. So, all right, that's going to do it for the news. We're going to move on to rapid fire. We'll start with you, Mrs. Whirling.
Okay, mine's really rapid. Soaring is going to be down for a rehab January 4th through the summer of 2016.
Well, they're adding the third theater, and they're probably changing the film. So I have to make sure I get on it one more time before they do it.
We wrote it yesterday. It's like, I got to come back and do this a few more times.
Yeah. So, but Soaring being down for the better part of 6 months, a little more than 6 months, is going to be a nightmare.
That's gonna be a hit for Epcot. Test track is going to be flooded.
And so is the land, because the land never did better than when they moved to Fast Pass Plus, and people just had nothing to do while waiting for Soaring. So.
Everybody's going to flock to Ellen's Energy Adventure now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the number 2. That's the number 2, right up there with Journey into Imagination.
Kathy.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Jenny Lynn.
My rapid fire is about the Candlelight Processional narrators. They have finally filled out the rest of the schedule. Meredith Vieira has been added for December 12th through the 14th. America
Ferrara.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm saying these wrong. December 15th through December 17th. Chandra Wilson is December 18th.
Oh, we'd love to see her.
The 18th through the 20th.
Love her on Grey's Anatomy.
Daniel Day Kim is December 21st to December 23rd.
Me too. He was awesome on Lost.
Yeah, I love him. I'm going to see him.
That's a good lineup.
Those are
very good lineup.
Those are the last 4 that filled in the holes that they hadn't announced yet. So everything's all set to go. Start making your reservations.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Mrs. Martin.
Okay. This is very exciting. Shelly May, the Disney Bear, is going to be hitting Disneyland and Walt Disney World shelves this fall.
This is Duffy and Drag, isn't it?
It sure is. To be honest, when I read this story, I was like, it sounds like Adam and Eve, but with Minnie Mouse as God. So let me just expound on that. So Shelly May was introduced at Tokyo Disney Resort in 2010 and then later brought to Aulani. And she's one of the most requested items from Duffy fans here in the States, apparently. So the new merchandise will feature a 17-inch plush along with several costume options. They'll also have a 2-pack that has outfits for Shelly Ann Duffy.
Tupac?
Shelly May, excuse me.
Tupac.
And then they're also going to have a 12-inch My First Shelly May plush for the smaller children. And they'll have some pre-dressed options, Shelly May the cheerleader and Shelly May the Disney Parks tourist.
Oh, wow.
So the story goes that Minnie made Shelly May so that Duffy would have a best friend.
But we got rid of Duffy.
Do we have to use air quotes for best friends?
So I picture taking some stuffing, like God took the rib from Adam and creating crafting Shelly May.
I think it's weird that they announced this right after they announced that Duffy would no longer appear.
It's so bizarre.
I just kicked him out to let her in.
You know what?
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit strange.
I said it before, and it ended up being like a little meme among some Dizzers. Stop trying to make Duffy happen.
There will also be a hardcover book So if you want the story to have it personally and keep with you always, you can totally have
Well,
that.
maybe there'll be bedtime with, what is it, Shelly May?
Yes.
Instead of Duffy.
Or
So
bedtime with Shelly May and Duffy, and it'll be X-rated.
That's a different channel in your resort room.
Shelly May merchandise will be available wherever Disney the Duffy Bear or Duffy the Disney Bear, whatever, I said that backwards, are offered. Plus, select items will be available at the Disney Parks online store or from the Shop Disney Parks app. So keep
They're
your
going
eye
to
out.
incorporate Shelly and Duffy inside of the Country Bear Jamboree. Next. Comes next. I'm telling you.
It's
Please.
a terrible, terrible, terrible thought.
I mean, when they were getting rid of Duffy, I was like, yes, the bear's going away. And now they're just bringing in a female.
Yeah.
All they did was put a bow on Duffy. I mean,
And
really.
that's all what they're probably going to do with the character costume that they have. They got to get rid of Duffy so they can sew on a bow to the top, and then in 3 months they're going to start saying, "Meet Shelly May."
Poor
She's
Daisy.
had the
Duffy
operation.
getting the boot.
Yeah, really.
Yep.
Duffy just had, Duffy's
Shelly May,
trans.
Shelly May Jenner.
Does it bother
Went to
anybody
South
else
America.
they didn't separate her name, that it has 2 capital letters in it? It really bothers me.
Like
Anyway,
Jenny Lynn.
That doesn't bother me. How my name is.
I never noticed your
fight.
name had 2 capital letters.
Yeah, the J and the L. That's why they call me JL.
Jeez, Julie.
Okay.
Oh, well.
All right. Off the
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Thank you,
Now
Julie.
we know how
Corey.
she really feels.
Flying Fish Cafe, as you know it, will be no more. Flying Fish will not take reservations after January 31st, 2016. The restaurant will close for several months to be reimagined with a new look and new menu. The menu will still offer seasonal specialties, and the onstage kitchen will remain. I don't know. I
I always felt it's a little crowded in there. Like, your tables are really close together. It's hard to maneuver around.
Yeah, it
so-
is tough. Yeah.
I
But
enjoyed the food,
Food
though.
is so good.
yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a shock that they're choosing to do this with Flying Fish that really didn't have anything wrong with their
Yeah.
menu to begin with. Why not fix one of the problem children somewhere else?
Problem childs.
I went there. I tried to pull it back.
But I thought the
Bad things
theming was
happen,
pretty good in there.
sentences. That's gonna be the title of Craig's biography. When bad things happen in good sentences.
It's
I'm
perfect.
having a rough day.
You are having a bad day. All right, thank you, Corey. Rhino.
Okay, so mine is Oprah's chef here.
That's not Oprah.
Oprah, right here.
Oprah's had a sex change.
Oprah.
And a race change, apparently.
Art Smith, who's best known for being Oprah's private chef, his restaurant that we talked about on the show before, it was originally called Florida Fish Camp. Do you guys remember this discussion
Yep.
when we were like, doesn't sound like a restaurant? They renamed it Homecoming, Florida and Southern Shine.
It sounds like a home goods store.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a
A
there's
name challenge with this.
There's a it says the new venture is described as where Florida heritage meets new Southern cuisine, and it'll have Southern favorites including homemade pimento cheese, church lady deviled eggs, low country shrimp and grits, kale salad and sweet grass dairy cheese, and spiced pecans, a grilled backstrap pork chop with sawmill gravy, cakes, pies, sweets. A gas-walled show kitchen will allow guests to see the action, and the Southern Shine bar will offer cocktails, punches, and coolers. There's nothing in this paragraph that ever makes me want to go to
Well,
this place.
backstrap caught my surprise. Have not had venison in a really long time, so that
Is
should
that
be
what that is?
interesting. Mhm.
I
Some
didn't
of
know.
it's
It's
stuff-
the best part.
Well,
of the
and
year.
Sounds
everyone,
good.
we have new information now that if you want to make Julie gag,
Just
say
say pimento cheese.
pimento
really?
cheese.
You
that
don't
was
like
deviled
it?
eggs.
And deviled eggs.
And deviled
Two of
eggs.
those things.
So if you
you're
have
not
a
normal.
pimento cheese deviled egg recipe, please send that to Julie.
She's not my wife. She's not my
I
wife.
was going to say, are you sure you're Southern?
I know, right?
Just so you know, one of our cocktail hour appetizers is pimento cheese dip. So I'm not even joking.
No, everyone I know eats it. I just cannot eat it. Oh, it's so gross.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rhino. Craig.
Okay, so for everyone out there who wants to get a ticket for the big Star Wars opening night event where you go see the movie at the AMC at Disney Springs and then go to Hollywood Studios after, the tickets just finally sold out this morning for the few remaining shows that were available. So you are now out of luck. And for no one who knows what that's even about, well, for a very brief time you are able to buy tickets to see the movie technically the night before it comes out, even though every theater starts showing it at 7 o'clock regardless. But then if you paid for this really extra expensive ticket, then you get to go to Hollywood Studios after to ride Star Tours with the newly added scenes from The Force Awakens in the mix, as well as their new fireworks show, which I'm sure will be 90% of the old Star Wars fireworks show with just one new music cue thrown in. And then I think there was like one other
Nothing
thing.
cynical
The
there.
Star Wars
The
launch bay.
area.
Oh yeah,
is-
the launch bay, which
You get to go in it.
get a glimpse of what's going to be coming with the new Star Wars attractions coming later on. So,
And your favorite
yeah,
part,
that's all sold out now. But
They're also going to have a DJ party. I know you're sorry you're missing that.
I'm okay with that. But
I'm
if you
going to
haven't-
be there. I got tickets. So
But
Yeah,
the
I'm-
ticket was only $99, right?
that's if you got the highest level. There were 3 levels depending on the format that you watched the show in, because you could watch it in 2D, 3D, or 3D EXT. So,
But I mean, that's not a bad price for Disney.
no,
It's not for the after
I'm
party.
going.
Because the movie's
I'm
2.5
going.
hours. So if they go to the 7 o'clock showing, the first one, then they're out by 9:30 over to Hollywood Studios by 10, and then they have a solid 4 hours in the park.
Yeah, it's open till
to
2 a.m.
have fun with all that stuff. And just so people are aware, even though that event is sold out, tickets aren't just like automatically sold out everywhere around the country. Most theaters aren't, that I've looked at least in the Florida area, besides the IMAX at the Point and then the special event, there are showings that you can get with no issues at all. Universal's showing it 31 times on the
Wow.
actual night of the 17th. So that means
Yeah, and
probably
that's just that night. Yeah.
at least 8 or 9 theaters
One
are being
day.
taken up over at Universal
Yeah.
for it. So it's still available to see places. And if you haven't gone and watched the new trailer yet, go do that. Look at the poster. Geek out. It's coming soon.
Can I tell you how stressful it was trying to get tickets for that thing? The internet, like, sites across the
Did you
board.
get 'em?
I did, but it took me hours and hours. The sites were crashing everywhere. Movietickets.com,
How many did you
AMC,
get?
Freers, Fandango. I have a group of 8 that's going.
Oh,
So.
thanks for asking.
Sorry, I didn't know you wanted to. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pete loves Star Wars. He has a
Okay.
Star Wars shirt.
Would you?
All right, I'll keep my ears open for an extra ticket. Oh no, now I feel terrible.
He's even got a BB-8 behind Corey's head right there. Boop.
All right. I'll see what I'll
Context
start
clues.
seeing what I can do if I can find
Julie's not a
something.
Star Wars fan, so I didn't tell her this, but I ordered the complete saga, the 9-disc gift set, and so I'm gonna have movie night with Ferris and Finley. You can join us if you want.
I'll be leaving.
And
See-
you're going to
see what
have
happens?
pimento cheese as a dip, right? And deviled eggs.
See, I'm.
But I feel like I need to take it upon myself to educate the kids with Star Wars, with all the how they're coming to Disney and all this stuff. So I need to, I have to.
Yes, I agree.
I'm trying to keep calm right now because Pete was gracious enough to let Kylie and I go on the December Backstage Magic trip now and join that group. So the trip starts in Hollywood, and it starts on. They announced that the premiere of Star Wars was going to be on the 14th, and it will most likely be at the Dolby Theater, which is connected to the hotel. So I'm hoping I get to.
They announced that it was going to be at that theater.
It is at
Did
the
you
Dolby?
not? I thought you saw that.
I missed
yeah.
that announcement.
You and I were having that conversation, and then I literally read it in the news that it announced that was the theater that they were using for that premiere. So, yeah. So your hopes are going up and up. Like,
I'll just sneak in the back. Then get arrested, but that's fine.
All right. Thank you, Craig, for that 93-minute rapid fire.
You're welcome.
we
Steve.
still have another one.
Yes, dates for the Christmas parade taping at the Magic Kingdom were announced. Disney Parks' Unforgettable Christmas Celebration Parade is November 10th to the 13th. The parade airs on Christmas morning on ABC, and it's filmed in the Magic Kingdom. Park guests can attend the taping with regular tickets to Magic Kingdom, so no special tickets are needed. I know a lot of people wait for that. I know my
Right here. Right here.
yeah, my girlfriend as well was like
I did it
checking dates, but
Is Michael Strahan and Kelly doing it?
I don't know.
Hosting the
They
show?
Or
haven't
Nick
said
Cannon
yet.
and someone.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
That's fine. Whatever.
Well, at least they dropped Frozen from
So
the name this year.
I want to ask somebody a question. Who here has seen the Brady Bunch movies?
Yeah. The 90s ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
you've
course.
seen them. Doesn't he sound like Peter Brady?
Oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I need to close my eyes and listen.
You don't know the Brady Bunch?
I know what the Brady Bunch is, but I don't know.
But go home and watch it. Those are funny movies.
Those
See,
are very
now I have
funny
to go back
movies.
and
The
watch
first
it
one's the
and
better
try to
one.
compare.
I hear it now.
But listen to his voice reminds me of the actor
Yeah.
who plays Peter Brady.
No, now that you said it, it's like it's uncanny.
Is that a good thing?
Not
Well,
that
not
not-
necessarily.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. But I'm just trying to throw his stickers, Steve, Pete, Junior, Brady, Porter.
Oh, geez.
Many monikers on him as we can. Now, while we are talking about Steve, Pete, Junior, Brady, Porter, he did an article. Steve's been writing an enormous number of articles, great articles for the site. One of them was on the recent Rehab to Pirates of the Caribbean, where he made some of his opinions known, which is what I ask all these guys to do. And Steve got his first internet beatdown from
I
the
did.
audience.
I did.
So I want to
That's
give him an
always fun.
opportunity to kind of share what it is that people took exception to, some of the comments he got, and his responses to it. So
Yeah, I'll try to be. I'll be professional. I'm not mad at anyone. I actually like when people are critical. I've had other articles where people are critical.
well, you sound like Peter Brady, and you suck. No.
But yeah, seriously, I do like when people have something to say or input that adds to what I've written, and even if it's negative, I always enjoy that. But I just thought that this article was particularly interesting. People kind of telling me I'm stupid or that I need medication and all these crazy outlandish
That's why you don't
things.
read that crap.
But the two major criticisms were that I used flash photography, and that I didn't include that it had to do with infrastructure. One, I didn't take the photos. We have photos set up. All of the contributors have photos set up that they can use. And two, not mentioning the infrastructure, I did in part because I wanted to come back from the ride being upgraded to normal guests shouldn't have to know that it was for an infrastructural problem, especially when you're going to have these updates like adding new costumes or adding new scents. And when those new additions, like the new costumes or the new scents, don't impress me, I'm going to be critical of them. And when people are mad at me for being critical of that, then I'll take that hate, because I feel like that's what the Diz is here to do, is to be critical
exactly.
when things aren't the way that we expect them as guests to be.
Well, I feel like maybe you've done something right when you struck a nerve with people
Yeah.
too, because
Yeah.
clearly
Well,
you've
yeah,
stirred
my
that
my
pot.
father used to say, you know you're doing something right when they start shooting. And so I've done a lot right.
And people are very protective of their favorite attraction.
Look,
So-
Pirates is one of my all-time favorites. Now, I haven't been on the new version yet, so I can't say.
I haven't either.
But I don't feel defensive when somebody says, "Yeah, I don't like it."
Yeah.
It's
If
okay.
there were new scents, I missed them.
Right.
But the costumes, it's like, okay, if you did something.
You didn't notice.
No,
Well,
I came
normally-
through. I mean, I knew that they had done things, but I came through and said whatever they did was so minor.
Well, normally the only scent you have on Pirates of the Caribbean is chlorine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, did I say this in the show last week or the week before? When the first night I moved to Florida, John had already been here, and we were in temporary housing in Metro West that Disney had set us up in while we looked for a house. And this is because John was working for Disney. It has nothing to do with what we're doing here. And as soon as we got to the apartment, like I said, I'm just literally got in. As soon as we get back to the apartment, John runs right into the kitchen, pours a glass of water, says, "What does this smell like?" And I smell it. I'm like, "It smells like Pirates of the Caribbean." And he's like, "Exactly," because our water is very chlorinated here. Now, obviously, in Pirates of the Caribbean, in any of the water rides, they have to keep it very chlorinated to keep it clean. But I don't know why I needed to tell you that whole story. So what else, Steve?
I mean, that was the main part. I just felt like I wanted to be critical when, I don't know. I wasn't trying to attack people's favorite rides. I just thought that if the ride is going to be down for the whole summer,
Right.
there are people that come here once in a lifetime. And for it to be down the whole summer, and then for me to come get on the ride and say, meh, was kind
Right.
of like, if it's going to be down for a whole summer, we should all come back and say, wow, like, look what they did. Look how
shiny the pigs are.
Yeah, look how spectacular all these changes are. Not like, oh, they changed it? Like, what's new? Like, people that got off most people that probably rode the ride that day didn't know that there was anything new to it. I
Right.
think.
There's actually been a lot of complaints surrounding it coming back from its refurbishment because, yeah, people are throwing around it was all shut down because of infrastructure. No, that's what some people told you out there. We might have even told you that at one point. That doesn't mean we know. We don't work for Disney. Only they know what happened. Second, they said, oh, well, it was because the boats were taking on water. That's why they took it down to start fixing that problem. Well, no, because I went on and rode it and had to protect my camera for life as
Well, it's because
as other
aren't
friends.
they using the boats from Disneyland?
They are.
Yes.
And that's why the boats are taking on water.
Exactly. And they were supposed to, this all comes down to cast members not putting 4 fully grown adults in the front row. So when it goes down a hill, a wave comes up over
Yeah.
the boat. Use some common sense on that. So, yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
closed
because there's
of that.
nothing better. There's nothing better than being covered in stagnant, over-chlorinated water, which is basically like taking a shower in Florida.
And I waited 30 or 40 minutes to go on the ride to shoot a video of it. And all I kept hearing was, okay, well, they updated the animatronics. They're more fluid. They upgraded the audio, so it's so much more crisp. The costumes are great. I noticed the costumes, especially like Barbossa's, which, Steven put a picture of Barbossa in the article, and it was his old costume. So anyone who knew anything, first off, should have realized that is not a new picture. He was not taking flash photos in there because he's wearing something different now. 2, we got around to the auction scene. The pirates were not as moving as much as people were saying they were supposed to. And C, there was at least 2 of the animatronics that their audio was broken, so it was crackling in and out. So I wasted 40 minutes on something I couldn't even use anything with because it's... Did you sell her by the pound? Like, are you kidding? So they almost need to do a little more work on this, and then maybe it'll be better because, the scents aren't there, and the upgrades that they made, they're not fully upgrades yet until they're working as they should.
Now, Kathy, you've been on it, right? Mm-hmm. Your opinion?
I agree with you. I mean, I went on it like knowing where they had done different things, and I'm like, it was a yawner. It was like, oh, okay, that's really what they did.
Okay, and this is like Little Mary Sunshine over here when it comes to this stuff.
I was,
So,
I was sort of disappointed. I'm like, that's it? They had said great things beforehand. I wasn't that impressed. And the people that were in the boat with me went, they did something here? So.
Anybody else been on it?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed the changes, but I look at the details. I love that ride. There were things on the ride before that had been broken for a while that finally got fixed, and things like the guy sleeping with the pigs. His chest was always weird when it would rise to the point that it looked like he had breasts.
I didn't look quite that close, but
They fixed that, so now it looks like he has a heaving chest rather than he has bosoms. But there's that, and
There's a word for those I can't use.
the dogs are fluffier.
yeah, there was a different dog.
I do appreciate updates to classic rides. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Tell me this. Am I wrong, or did the redhead, she's more realistically proportioned? Is that true? She looked...
I didn't notice that, but
She
maybe
had a
looked
breast
like-
reduction?
She looked like a plus model rather than...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She just looked freshened up.
Maybe that's what it was. I just thought, oh, she's more realistically proportioned. But I could be wrong. But I noticed the changes, but I could see how the average guest wouldn't.
But I mean, it's our job to notice the details. And if the details that they say beforehand don't sort of match up to how they are when you go on the ride, it's sort of like, what did you accomplish?
I also said in the article, for the scents that they added, if you really are trying to pay attention to scents, you can notice them, but they should just crank up the dial on the vents of whatever the scent, because it's nothing like Soaring or anything like that,
Yeah.
where you're like, or even in Rome when you go in Spaceship Earth, where you're like immersed from the
Right.
smell. It was like, oh, is there a smell? Is there a change? I don't know.
I wasn't sure of that either. I thought that maybe it smelled like gunpowder in the cannon room,
Yeah.
but I wasn't quite sure. I know that room looked better because it had more fog and stuff like that. And I know that the misty screen now switches between Barbosa and Davy Jones rather than
Yeah,
just having
yep.
the one. But again, like you're saying, these are very minor things, and is it really?
Oh, then maybe I've been on it since it went down too, and I didn't notice anything. Now that I think about it, I think I went on it too. It is what it is. It's just the ride. We talked about this on the Universal show too. Is that like when it comes to people's like favorite classic rides that they can't just accept that sometimes have to change, or they get really defensive in your case. And so if anyone says, and one critical thing, they'll just lose their mind, even though the critical thing could be extremely valid.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love Pirates.
Oh, yeah.
Still, with the changes, I'm not attacking the current ride. I'm kind of attacking that I didn't think the updates were where they should have been.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Duffy Bear Jamboree. Here we go.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone, and remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Have a good week.